the groundhog Caddyshack. I've chased him all around. Well, now he's come right up, right next to the driveway, right as you walk out of the garage. He's come right up to the front, right in between the dogwood, and he bonked his head on the front walkway because he couldn't go through that because that's concrete and stone. So he turned immediate right and he went all the way down about 40 feet down the side of the walkway. And when you walk out now, you can see it, and because there's grass there, he didn't even break the ground. There's no mole mound, as some people call them. It's just a fucking mole run, and it's underneath the grass, but it sticks up like a speed bump in the subdivision, all the way halfway down the front of my front walk, and then suddenly it ends because he went somewhere else. And it's annoying to look at. A grassy speed bump down half of my walkway, so I'm going to take my tamp, and I'm going to go out later on, and I'm going to tamp the mole run down. What do you do with your tamp up there in New Jersey?
I've never dealt with tamp or moles, to be quite honest with you.
What?
We don't have a mole problem up here.
You don't have a single mole in your area.
A single mole in my fucking area. No, I'm kidding. No, I've never encountered moles. I've encountered bears and deers and foxes, coyote or coyotes.
Lions and tigers?
Yeah, well, not that.
Oh my.
Maybe soon.
Well, the fucking mole is the worst annoyance that you'll encounter. But I can't. So what do you use a tamp for up there then?
I don't think we have a tamp on hand.
You don't have a tamp?
Not on hand.
What the hell's the matter with you, son?
What other uses would I have for this tamp?
Right now, you just said that out in public, and now the next time that you have an emergency that only having a tamp would solve, people are going to point at you and laugh at you as, look at Brian tampless last over there. He's going to save his entire family from falling into that bottomless mole run if he'd have had a tamp, but no, now he's lost all of them, the kids, the dog, everything. He hears the distant, faint sound of Swami barking from underneath the ground late at night. If he'd only had a tamp.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have that problem. And I don't think anyone's going to be around laughing because they can't get over that.
Tampless last.
Am I invisible?
Actually, light does bend around you in some cases. I've mentioned that I'm addressing the needs of the multitudes that have purchased material from Cornette's Collectibles between October 1st and October 2nd. We opened JimCornette.com flawlessly, did not crash. That thing, you can beat on it. You can take a stick and wail on it. I tell you, them servers are flexing their muscles. That server, the server that we're on now with JimCornette.com rides around in a convertible with the top down and one of those muscle shirts doing a double bicep pose down the middle of the main street. That's how badass that our server is now. And now that I don't have anything for sale, go ahead and try to crash that motherfucker and see what happens. I double dog dare you. Because you can still go to JimCornette.com and get links to the YouTube channel and to the podcast here that we do and to the Patreon page and to the many and various things that I'm involved with or have my finger in. You can still link to all that stuff, and it's a fine site, but as I mentioned, we did close the store down 5 days later because we got too many orders, as we kind of predicted, and now Hotchkiss has helped me out. We've sorted the orders. Several hundred address labels have already been perpetrated. Things are out in stacks, pictures, books, t-shirts, etc., multiple items. And we're going to be starting by the end of this week. The first couple of hundred autographed pictures and Cult of Cornette membership certificates will have gone out. And then we're going to try to keep up a pace of 300 to 400 packages a week for the next 6 weeks or so. We'll see how that works out. But basically, for 5 days a week, I'm going to be doing merch, and 2 days a week, I'm going to be joining you, Brian, to do these fine broadcasts that we do.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, it's going to be enjoyable, and Harley wants to help. She's sitting right there looking at me, looking over my shoulder while I do every bit of it. She wants to help, but unfortunately I can't afford her hourly because then I've got to go through PETA. You know, when you hire a puppy dog like that, you've got to follow certain minimum requirements, and then you got to go through the animal rights people. She's really expensive. She's going to stick to modeling.
All right, well, this is my show.
It's your show.
And someone's got to save it. I might as well give it a shot, but before we get to any of these questions, and quite frankly, if anyone's going to save this show, it will be the listeners of the program who sent them these questions.
In case we're fucking doomed. Doomed, I say.
Speaking of doomed, let's talk about some of the wrestling that you made us watch for this program this week.
Well, I know now, don't blame all this on me.
Why not?
I'm trying to get my notepad out. It's been a day or two since I've seen this stuff. What do you want to talk about first on the Friday Night Wars?
Well, SmackDown aired first.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, hold on. You know what? Before we even talk about this, did you see this tweet from Tony Khan the other day about, I guess, next Friday?
I don't know. I can't see what you're pointing at.
The tweet about next Friday, SmackDown and AEW having a half-hour overrun?
Well, I did hear this, that they are doing that because SmackDown is 2.5 hours instead of 2 hours, so naturally that would be a half-hour overrun into the normally allotted slot for Rampage, right? So what's Tony's comment about it?
Well, at 11:32 p.m. on October 8th, which would have been Friday, so it would have been right after Rampage aired, and I'm sure right after cocktails started flowing, Tony tweeted out, "I saw you're doing a half-hour head-to-head with us. I can't wait to finally beat your main show head-to-head. It's been a long time coming. See you next Friday for AEW Rampage on AEW on TNT."
Actually, hold on here 1 second. That was a piece of work. I appreciate that. You know why I said that, don't you?
What do you mean?
That show probably will beat SmackDown.
Oh, I think
10:30.
I mean, they're going to try to stack it. I mean, that's going to be the half hour where they try to.
No, I don't care. I don't care if they show Mickey Mouse cartoons. They're probably going to beat SmackDown from 10 to 10:30. You know why, don't you?
CM Punk?
No. God damn it. Am I on a fucking time warp? Didn't they just advertise on the SmackDown this past week? Or I saw it somewhere in front of my face. SmackDown next week on Friday night is not on Fox, it's on FS1 because of some kind of ball game.
Oh, that's right.
So Tony saw that. Okay, well, there you go. I can fucking looking forward to beating your #1 show when it's on the equivalent of cable access instead of the normal network broadcast. So that was very, very well played. That's like when Medusa did the fucking royalty check rib and tweeted out the picture of her royalty check where she made like $500,000 because she took a picture and cropped the 2 columns to the right off where it says what she actually got, and it looked great. And I had to applaud that also. I applaud this. Tony realized that, yeah, they probably what were the ratings of SmackDown the last time they went over to, is it FS1? I'm saying that correctly, isn't it?
I believe so, yes.
That got you curious enough to look now and see so you know what you're talking about here on this program?
I can look about that. I don't think I'm going to know where to find right now the SmackDown ratings the last time they were on FS1.
You don't think you're going to know what you're talking about on this program, but you can...
For the last time they were on FS1, it's going to take me a few minutes to find out.
Well, god damn it, you should be...
Especially if I'm talking to you instead of typing. Instead of defending myself for my inability to find it, I could be trying to find it, but...
Why don't we have Jay Sharknado sitting in on this stuff, or Kimball, or somebody can just a stooge at our beck and call to just come up with these factoids when we need it.
I wouldn't consider any of those men to be stooges. They're all fine, intelligent.
Because I wouldn't consider any of those men to be smart enough to find those factoids.
Where did we figure this show?
I don't know. It's your show. I'm just trying to get you to run it. Here's the thing. Yes, I applaud Tony Khan for what he just said, because they probably will beat... if they are in their normal time slot on a program they've established for the past, 2 months, And a lot of people like you may not know that SmackDown's not going to be on Fox. So there you go. All these things work together in consort with each other. I think they'll probably somewhat outpace them, depending on what the... I can't imagine they did 1 million viewers the last time they were on FS1 for SmackDown. So
they averaged, if the last time they were on was December of 2020, which may be, I don't know if they were on since then, they averaged just over 1 million, 1 million viewers.
So, right about that. Okay, well, then it may be a little bit of a dogfight. Let's see what happens.
And if they lose, and if in that half hour WWE loses, and here's Tony Khan taunting them at 11:30 at night in a tweet a week beforehand, how he can't wait to kick your ass. Is there any reaction internally to the fact that the owner of the company, it's kind of now just a combination of Bischoff with Ted Turner, the money and that arrogance put together, you get this?
Well, but then also it could blow up on Tony because, you know, that's... Okay, let's look at and it was well over millions. They've been saved, but they've dropped down. They jumped back up for something else involving Punk, as I recall. But even if he loads that up, it's still a challenge for them to get 1 million people on the Friday night now, unless they say, oh, by the way, Bray Wyatt will debut fucking Friday night or whatever. But then again, SmackDown being on FS1 last time for 2 hours did 1 million. Not for 2.5 hours. Now it's an extra half an hour. Later at night, attrition. Did people get the memo that it was going to be 2.5 hours? It's going to be close either way, but it's going to look bad for Tony if he took that leap of faith and they end up losing by 200,000 people. It's going to look fucking... They're going to try to excuse it with all the excuses that I just gave. On the WWE side, if they lose by 50,000 or 25,000 or whatever, they're going to bring up all those facts, which are all going to be correct, but still they lost as Tony predicted, so it's going to look shitty for them. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, nobody thinks, and it would be insane to say that Rampage anytime in the near future on Friday nights at 10 o'clock on TNT is going to beat SmackDown on Fox Network.
Well, speaking of which, SmackDown...
What, SmackDown on the Fox Network?
Yes, we did in fact watch it, and imagine if this past week, the last half hour of SmackDown went up against the first half hour of Rampage. It would have been very interesting to see what happened. That last half hour of SmackDown was...
Did you watch the whole goddamn show?
I had it on in the background, and every now and then I would forget to hit the 30-second forward button because there were so many commercials that you fast forward through the commercials and then you end up in another commercial. So I just gave up and I just put the remote down and said, I'm just going to play this in the background. I'm going to look up what I'm interested in. I'm going to look where it's at. And
so you basically never looked up again.
After the opening segment, there was very little more.
There was... I need someone to look up to. Well, and I must say this for the record, right here, out loud. I'll come out with it. I'll bring it forth. This was the best that I have ever seen Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks in a promo segment. I've said that before, they normally look or sound like they're doing a scene from the, an afternoon talk show hosted by some pseudo-psychiatrist or whatever. Or an offspring, the Jerry Springer show. This was a great fucking verbal segment. And obviously, my new favorite female promo, Big Time Bex. I like Britt Baker. I started to say Britt Baker. And I love Rainy Nights in Georgia, too. But I like Britt Baker. as a heel promo, but she's an entertaining heel promo. You love to hate her, whatever. Becky Lynch is coming off just like an in-command, really asshole-ish bitch. And it's a completely different gimmick, and she's not supposed to necessarily have little funny lines, but her whole thing is her attitude, and it's more real to me than I think any of the other girls in the WWE. They started the SmackDown show with this. Again, poor beleaguered Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, his assistant or second in command or whatever, are in the ring, and it's another contract signing, allegedly. How many contract signings have we seen poor Adam Pearce? They ought to charge him rent for being. He's in the ring now more than he was when he was wrestling.
He should go to law school. He should go to law school. He's handling all these contracts. Study contract law. He's ready.
Yes, I think he is. But anyway, they're in the ring, and Bianca Belair is in the ring. Sasha Banks is standing on the announce desk because they wanted to keep separation between the ladies involved. And big time Bex, old Becky Lynch, is at her own table and chair with her feet up on the table in the entrance aisleway. And apparently the triple threat is at Crown Jewel. They will not, on any of their graphics or any mention verbally or anything, say where Crown Jewel is actually taking place at, will they?
I don't know.
Because I didn't hear it, I didn't see it. Apparently you didn't watch very closely, but I'm wondering.
I didn't notice that. I heard the references to Crown Jewel, but I didn't even notice if they said Saudi Arabia or not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. One of our eagle-eyed or eagle-eared, or actually, do eagles have ears? If so, are they good, or what's the fucking, because like bats, they have radar.
Elephants have ears.
Well, and they got elephant ear sandwiches. That's where I was saying, but I don't know where they get those big fucking buns. But nevertheless, what has good ears? Is it a wolf-eared viewer or listener to us?
A blind man.
Well, no.
Yes, they say when you lose one of your senses, the other senses get more action. I don't know what the term would be.
Eyesight was already deaf to begin with. Then how would that help him?
I don't know, but I would donate to his,
said the blind man to the deaf dog that used to belong to the crippled tightrope walker. But nevertheless, one of our listeners that are not just fleet of foot and sound of mind, but also turkey of ear. Listen, figure this out. How often is the point I was going to make? Do they advertise to the general public? We all know this show is taking place in Saudi Arabia because we follow their goddamn the news and their conference calls and their fucking tweets and the blah, blah, blah. We know everything, right? But the average person walking down the street, smiling at everybody they meet, the average hot child in the city running wild and looking pretty, do they know the things in Saudi Arabia, and how does the WWE disseminate that information, and how often, and how hard do they go to try to bury it, is what I'm wondering.
Usually they get Nick Gilbert to write a song about it, and 45 years later, people remember. And I'm wondering
if they're so ashamed, as they should be, of taking the Saudi Arabian money from the country that held them hostage at one point, and that, beheaded with bone saws, and such of that nature. Why do they bother advertising at all? If they're getting $50 million over there, why do they put it on the network and let everybody see here they are in Saudi Arabia? That's part of the disinformation campaign, where the Saudis want people to think that it's Disneyland over there, the happiest place on earth, right? Every head that you see rolling down the hill from where they've been beheaded in Saudi Arabia has a smile on its face. That's what I've heard. Anyway,
we were talking about Sasha and Becky and Bianca.
We sure were. This opening segment, it was a fine piece of business. Except I'm wondering, after each one of them, they're standing out there, as I mentioned, the one on the table and the one in the ring and the one in the aisleway. And after each of them was introduced, a VTR history package would play. And I'm wondering, are they playing that? I guess they are for the fans live on the big screen. But it has to be, for a live event, that has to be an interminable experience to go through, where you're sitting there for 5 minutes watching these individual girls stand in their places and just be introduced while a video plays on the screen. If you want to watch television, you could have probably watched it on TV at home instead of paying the $50 or whatever. But anyway, I love